Hey, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I am Steve Smith. How are you all today? I want to talk today about the enemies within, the things you have to be very, very careful about. Before we get started, I want to remind you who our sponsor is, our sponsors. The first, of course, is the Stonemont series, my books about preparing for, surviving, and rebuilding after the big one, after the big collapse. If you're prepared for that one, you're pretty much prepared for everything. And as I've said before, I don't think I've ever been asked a question that I haven't already answered in detail in one of these books, with the exception of one that was asked by one of our viewers, one of our subscribers, when he stopped by our booth out at Old Settlers Days, but it didn't really have to do with preparedness anyway. The way to get them, you can get them through Amazon, and the link is down there below in the information section. You can get them in paperback like these, or you can get them Kindle, or you can get paperback autographed copies. For me, it takes longer to do that. But if you like that, there's also a way to do it down there. Also, the new Stonemont and Integrative Preparedness T-shirts are available. I'm wearing one of the Stonemonts right now. This is the one that's going to be available. There are other designs in the pipeline. If you can see that, it says it's Stonemont. It's got the tree that's part of the pine tree flag that Stonemont took as a part of their flag, and it says where life is good. Simple as that. And if you haven't read the books, you might not know what that refers to, but it refers to the fact that many people who have read the Stonemont series, who we call them Stonemonters, they call themselves Stonemonters. They say, I'd rather live there than where I do right now, and I agree with them, because when I'm writing those books, I'm writing about a place and a time that I would much prefer over this idiocy within which we're living right now. There's also the Integrative Preparedness t-shirts. I'm not very good at this. I'll shake this out. Integrative Preparedness. Prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. So both of these shirts, how to get them is down below. They're $20 a piece. They're good brand. Good, the upscale of Gildan. Great colors. I love the colors, both of these right now. You can get either design in either color and whatever, I'm looking at the wrong place, whatever size you want. Okay, so you let us know, when you send in your order, and the way to do that is right down there too in the information section. Let us know which you want, or how many you want. Whether you want of the Integrative Preparedness design, or whether you want the Stonemont design, and either of those can be put on either color. So you can say, well, I want the Integrative Preparedness, but I want it on the tan, and that's fine too. And I want the Stonemont on the green, and that's fine too. However you want to do it, have one of each, have a dozen, buy them for your friends. They are great T-shirts, and I love wearing them. Okay. Oh, today also over on, by the way, welcome to all the new people. We love the fact that you're here with us. If you haven't subscribed, make sure that you subscribe so that you get all the notifications when we have a new video up, which is quite often. It's almost every day, and you won't want to miss them. And if you're not with us yet over on Patreon, I would encourage you to consider that, because we put so much more over on Patreon than we do on YouTube. It only costs you $1 a month to get in there and get all that extra information. It's well worth your time and your buck. And I just answered a Stonemonter's question today about drugs, gangs, and bikers. The Stonemonter over there is referred to the second level that gives people a direct line to me. They can write with questions and kind of have that individual attention, and where I'll get back and answer their questions, whether it's individually or as a part of a video, and we love doing that. If you go over to, if you're not with us over on Patreon yet and you come over to us, make use of the community. It's an unbelievable community. We have some of the I always say we've got the smartest commenters on YouTube, and that's the truth. Well, you want to square that, and by that I mean times by time. that's what Patreon is. We have some excellent people over there, and don't forget to check the community section. We have people over there who are putting in information that are far beyond my ability to explain, to understand, let alone explain, but I get a lot from it. So when you come over there, it is a community. Make use of it. Okay, now I've talked so much, I'll take a sip, and then we'll get into the subject of today. Enemies among us, enemies among you. The most dangerous person, whether to an organization or person, is the trusted person. The person that is seen as a friend. The person who is seen as an insider. The person who is seen as a member of the team, right? Now, most of us prize loyalty and trust very highly. I prize it the most. Second only to love. Love will rarely break down. And that's why I've answered in the past. And this kind of came out of a question from an organized crime movie. Or was it somebody else? Is it better to be hated or is it better to be respected or feared? I think that came out of a movie. And I responded, neither one. It's better to be loved, because either one of those others, you can find cracks in it. Love will rarely let you down. But this isn't about, well, it is about love. So let's talk about that. And let me be clear that all of this is under God, God being the most important. Because I always get people, and it's I won't say that it's irritating, but it's unnecessary. Let me put it that way. That after I explain a lot about preparedness, someone will come on and say, but no matter what you do, if you don't have God on your side, I want to assure you that we all understand that. Okay, so you I won't bounce you if you mention it, if you feel that it's your mission field to say it, but it's unnecessary, and it makes you, just be one. The most dangerous person is that one that you don't suspect. History is replete, meaning full, of situations to where a person, an organization, a movement, whatever, was betrayed by the insider. I've been invited. Well, I'll start with saying this. I've had a number of businesses. I've had a number of situations and groups, relationships, and the danger was never from someone outside. The one outside may be competing against you, or they may even be at some kind of, they are a competitor, or they are an enemy, or whatever. But you know that they are, and so you are forewarned, and you keep that in mind. So you're not blindsided by them. The one who has always caused trouble for me, and probably for you, is the one that you thought was a friend. The one, and if anybody's saying, gosh, has he had something happen? No, I haven't. This is a subject that I think is very important, because I've been talking lately about the IRA, and I talk quite a bit I talk about that over on Patreon, and I talk quite a bit about organized crime on Patreon. And the biggest danger are informants. The very seldom do the so-called the powers that be ever get a good line on those targets without an informant taking them there. Does that make sense? Right. We don't like to think about those that we trust as having the ability to betray us. But too often they do. Now, there are those they won't. I do have friends that I will trust with anything that I've got. Not many at all. A few. Okay. Not a dozen, not 6, not 5. The rest are people who can be trusted up to a point and in different ways. We know that we are going through tough times right now. We know that an increasingly oppressive entity is trying to have more control over us, right? There's no doubt about that. We've also talked about the possibility of a civil war coming, right? That's right. Well, think about that last conflagration that they improperly refer to as the Civil War. And remember what they say about it every time they try to push a movie or something. Families divided, brother against brother, father against son. And for the most part, for many years, those of us who have lived in easy times, we probably think, if we haven't had, family problems, think, well, that could never happen. I mean, these are people in my family. These are my friends. That could never happen. Those of you who have never had someone who you thought was a friend betray you probably can't imagine it, but all it takes is the right motive, and then it happens. I have a couple of movies coming up that I'm going to review that talks about that very, very well. But it's such an important part, the informant, the getting people to tell on their friends, neighbors, and families. It's such an important part that the powers that be spend a lot of time thinking about how they can generate that. Okay. The worst thing in the world in organized crime or in the IRA or in any secretive organization, whether, is an informant. Now, why do people inform? I mentioned this the other day, that when I was talking about military training, that I heard from a military source that they were taught that there are, and I've kind of gone through some of that training myself way back when in the very basics, and we were told, first I think it was 4 or 5 reasons that people inform. Well, there's a lot more nuanced than that. You can put those together in all different formulas and come up with a million different reasons, as many reasons as there are people. But it all comes down to the fact that people who have information about us can be dangerous to us. Information is power, right? So whoever has information about us has a certain amount of leverage, equal to or perhaps greater than the amount of information they have about us. Information that we don't want out, right? That's what I mean. I mean, the information that, hey, Bob is a great guy, that doesn't get you anywhere, but information that could compromise that person, whether it's something that they've done in their life, whether it's something they'd rather the world not know, whether it's their membership in a certain organization, all of these things are all these different slices of sensitive information can be used as leverage on a person. Now, a lot of people talk about OPSEC and things like that without really understanding what it is. I don't think I want to go into that too much right now. But what you do, what you think, who your contacts are, what your plans are, what your concerns are, what your worries are, all of these things are pieces that can be put together to form an overall picture of you. And, in a normal world, there's no problem with that. I mean, you want people to know you, right? Well, most of us want the world to know the us that we want it to know, right? We don't just put everything out on Front Street. But as we think about this today, we have to realize that as things continue to devolve, if a civil war comes about, that separation of even families, brother against brother, can certainly develop. Your biggest danger is going to be your friend or that family member who doesn't agree with you about things. How much have we seen this in the last couple of years where families completely split apart over their feeling of a medical procedure? Some people want nothing to do with the rest of their family over that. How much more might it be if it was something even more important? Something that those people felt threatened their safety or their existence. You think they wouldn't break down? Just because people are friends, so-called, and usually what that means is acquaintances, or family members, doesn't mean that we really know them. Nor does it mean, in all cases, or in some cases, that they have, as a result of that relationship, an unbending loyalty to us. These things have to be taken into consideration. If everything devolves to the point to where I think it could, your neighbors are going to be the ones that turn you in. Your neighbors are going to be the ones that remember what you said at a picnic, at a barbecue, or whatever. And when the big one starts, they're going to remember that. And then they become a danger to you because they are the source, they are the conduit of information to people that you may not want to have that information. So what do you do? Well, here is where tactical and strategic communications comes in. If you haven't practiced it up till now, and I'll be real honest, I don't necessarily practice it. I pretty much let people know exactly how I feel about things. So in that, I've left myself open. Okay. Most people don't. A lot of people keep it to themselves. It doesn't serve the purpose that I'm trying to serve, and that is influencing people. Okay. But it does serve another. It serves the old gray man. Nobody knows what to think, where you stand. It's like people who don't like to talk about who they vote for. Okay. Well, it's not going to get you in any arguments, but it's not going to make you any friends either. So here's where strategic and tactical communications comes in. And that is to be in total control of the information you put out and to have an understanding to the greatest extent you can of the information that comes into you. Okay. So you want to put out information that will let people know, certain people know where you stand, without going overboard, okay, or even just throwing a line out to them, like, gosh, I don't know about this thing that's coming down the road. What do you think? Which is usually the best way to start. And then see where they go with that. And usually there's going to be kind of a dance. You ever met a news person and you're not sure where they stand politically? And so you go, boy, these prices are getting pretty high. And then you wait to see whether they're going to say, yeah, that stinking guy in office now is driving them up. Okay, now you know, right? Or if they say, well, it's just the way things happen and these things goes in ebbs and flows. It's really nobody's fault. Okay, now you know that's not somebody that you want to share anything more with, right? Okay. So that's good. You can also use that as a way to sow disinformation. You can feed those people information about you and what you're doing, about what you're not doing, so that they will feel nice and safe and secure and never think about talking about you because they think you're on their side, right? But the other people, now you see, is this person reasonable? Is this a thinking person? Or is this a person who's just going to, he's a blowhard. He blows it out his mouth. He has no discrimination on what he says, which could be a danger because then that could come back on me, right? Okay. So you have to be in total control of what you put out there and have a reason for everything you put out there. Does that make sense? Okay. And the reason is to get the reaction of the other person. And then you just start, just like building a fire. You feed another little stick and you see if that catches on fire or goes out. Feed another little stick. That's the way so many people, good relationships are built like that. You find out the truth about somebody. Now, all these people that think they have 100 friends, they don't realize they've got none, and they have 100 acquaintances because they're fun to be with. Those people aren't to be taken seriously, and you want to stay away. You don't want to get close to them. But on the other side, you want to listen to what other people are telling you. Those people who approach you. Why are they approaching you? Are they doing the same thing that you're doing? Are they trying to see whether you're, kind of have the same beliefs they do or not? Or are they an agent provocateur, an informant? Are they trying to say, to find out, is this guy doing things that maybe I could, turn him in for? That was, and it's easy to spot a lot of them. It's just like in the comments section. The people that are always saying, this has to, and then they'll say something trying to drum up some kind of violence. Well, they're either idiots or they're informants. And I want nothing to do with either one. So you got to be very, very careful with those, but you have to understand, in all cases, that there are a myriad of possibilities as these people reveal themselves to you. I could go on and on for that. I think, most of you are smart enough to understand exactly what I was saying when I got started, and hopefully I've filled in the blanks for some other people, and that is simply, you have to be careful. You have to be very careful. That includes, what you say online. It includes, what you say to people at work. It includes what you say to your neighbors and even sometimes your family. Because if things really do get as bad as I think they could, and are they going to? I don't know, but I think they could. Those people are going to be the biggest dangers to you. The ones who either openly or secretly disagree with you and will use the opportunity because they'll think they have the moral high ground. They'll think, well, so-and-so, Steve or Bob or whoever, their thinking is all wrong. And the authorities, I know that the authorities, they think like I do, and so they're right. So I'm going to share this because it's my civic duty. It's my civic duty to pass on this information. That's going to happen all day long, everywhere. Or the person who themselves has gotten in a crack. They've gotten themselves in a crack because what they've done, what they've said, whatever. And in order to buy their way out of whatever punishment has been promised is coming their way unless they cooperate, okay, I will, I'll see what I can find out about Bob. And all of a sudden, the person that you thought was a friend They're working for the people who are after you. And you know, when it goes down, they'll be sitting there crying and hanging their head and saying, "I'm sorry, I didn't want to tell them, but I had no choice." Serious times could be coming. And if it happens like it did during that war during the 1860s, just like Mel Gibson's character said in The Patriot, the war is not going to be someplace else. And here I don't mean like an all-out war necessarily. I talked about the security state in one, I think I put it up yesterday. The war is going to be in your neighborhood. It's going to be at your place of work. Hopefully it's not in your household, because hopefully you've got a family who has a strong core and is protected by love, because that's the most important one. Real love doesn't break down. But the war is going to be everywhere. And the enemy without, the one you know about, will not be as deadly as the enemy within your own camp, within your own circle. And you have to always stay aware and understand that possibility. Okay? Remember, and I write about it a little bit. I write about a number of things in here. Remember the Stonemont series. Everything you could ever want to know, need to know about preparing for, surviving, and rebuilding after a total collapse, on Amazon or from me directly. And the t-shirts are now available. Either the Stonemont if you like that one, or Integrative Preparedness if you like that one. And tomorrow I'll be answering a question on Patreon sent to me by one of our Stonemonters over there. A very, very interesting question, a moral question about taking care of certain people after a collapse. I think you'll want to hear that one. So you all have a good day. Remember, we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And preparation usually begins in the mind, how you think about things, how you get ready, how you plan, how you defend, how you construct your defense up here before you ever do it out in the world. So you all have a good day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.